because I was loyal to the network that I was on, and so I didn't make a deal. So not to say that couldn't still happen, but I'm going to be talking to some people. They're pretty powerful in the Tampa Bay area, and we'll see what happens. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. And if it's not, then it's not. But, we're kind of looking around some different markets and things like that. But your prayers definitely would go a long way, and appreciate all the supporters around the country that have been there every step of the way for me and continue to tune in and talk to your friends about it and kind of share. It's unique when you find something you like. It's like an old shoe. You know how it goes. It's a beautiful thing. So anyways, I appreciate it. And you can keep the emails coming always at forthepeopleshow.com. Send me an email, Facebook, For the People Show, and all those portals at forthepeopleshow.com. But appreciate you. Marijuana. Do you smoke it? Some of you smoked it, have smoked it. Some of you have inhaled. Some of you claim that you didn't inhale. Remember old Slick Willie? He said he didn't, but, who knows whether he did or not. By the way, the estate of the Clintons in Chappaqua, there was some fire. There was a fire going on. Yeah, earlier in the week, but it wasn't their actual residence. It was a little bit in the backyard. The Secret Service residence was on fire. On their property, though, in Chappaqua. Nobody was injured. Firefighters came in there, put out. It happened in the ceiling, but it was a little scare there, a little commotion in Chappaqua. But the Clintons apparently were not even there. But the Secret Service had their own pad. Given that these folks were dead broke when they left the White House, it's interesting. And the Secret Service has their own little nook. Isn't that cute? Attorney General Jeff Sessions, he ended an Obama-era policy that discouraged federal prosecutors or prosecutions of marijuana use in the sale in states where it's been legalized. Sessions is instead leaving it up to the U.S. attorney to decide what they will put up with, what they will enforce, these federal anti-marijuana laws. He says, as a physician, I am caught between wanting marijuana users and addicts to be treated as patients and not criminals, while at the same time being very aware that regular marijuana use carries significant health risks. I believe we should treat habitual users and warn them of the associated risks and not punish them. He says, my job is to let you know that there is no free lunch medically with marijuana or any drug, even if a state or a society decides that it is wise economically and politically to make marijuana legal. And at the same time, we must be prepared for the health consequences even more than the legal ones. There's a contributor to Fox News. His name is Dr. Marc Siegel. I think he's very talented, great physician, and he was speaking about this very, very thing on Fox and Friends, talking about marijuana and what it does and what some of the facts that are coming out about this in the states that allow this to happen.
First finding, of course, Colorado, talk about them since 2013, recreational marijuana has been legal. Yes, they've raised about $500 million doing that with taxes and fees. But here's the problem. Fatal car accidents involving pot has doubled over that period of time. So that doesn't mean that pot's the cause, but they're finding that people that die in car wrecks, twice as many as before, have some marijuana in their system.
All right. So people said, well, you know what? It's more with the alcohol, more fatalities with that. Marc Siegel saying amplifies the problem. It's actually increasingly a problem. Stuff that advocates for marijuana won't tell you.
And in a way, it's worse than alcohol because it stays in your system for days and days, THC. So it impairs judgment. That's what you need with driving. You know, it impairs how you're thinking, where you perceive the next car being.
And the THC, as Dr. Marc Siegel pointed out, stays in your system, unlike alcohol. Actually goes away very, very quickly. So between alcohol and marijuana, just bad altogether. Don't do it. A lot of people just feel emboldened like it's nothing, like it's just smoking a cigarette. That's what a lot of advocates claim. But these top physicians are looking into this. Of course, we got our Attorney General who is telling us this is not good for your health. It's bad for your lungs. It's bad for your heart. And here's another thing. They say don't be a dope. Don't smoke dope. I mean, there is a lot of evidence saying it affects the brain.
It does kill your brain cells, number one. It affects your heart and lungs, too. But in terms of that's the biggest problem. You do not perform as well on tests. You do not do as well in the workplace. It affects relationships. So long-term use, and we're talking about, once a week. We're not talking about somebody that uses it once or twice. Regular use of pot definitely impacts relationships.
You've probably seen that. You've seen that in your patients.
I see it all the time.
Even once a week. Not just once, happened once, and that's it. Maybe twice in your life. He's talking about once a week. That's pretty regular. I've run into people that are smoking it more than once a week. I've done freelance projects for a lot of companies that I know. These folks are going out on break, and every time they go on break, they're token. And their claim is they're more productive in the workplace. They feel more relaxed. And you hear these reports. These are physicians. They're not making any more money telling you this. They're just stating the facts that it actually erodes your frontal cortex. It's not a very smart thing to do. And I haven't met too many people that have the IQ of Einstein. All right. And do you claim to have? You want to probably keep as many brain cells into that brain as possible. So if you're not the brightest on your block, if you're the breadwinner, and you want to continue actually making some money, you might just want to think about it. I mean, here's my whole thing. If you're suffering some ailment, you're in pain, medically speaking, you're in pain, you got chronic pain, smoke the marijuana if it makes you feel better. But if you're healthy and you don't need it, you're just doing it because you want to walk around stoned. I just think it's a cop-out, personally. I mean, they say don't judge. They say you're going to step into the judgment position like that. But just with the medical information out there, why would you want to retard, any part of your body, your lungs, your heart, your brain? I mean, your vital organs. Why would you want to do that? I mean, that's just me. I'm just thinking, and I used to smoke. When I was a teenager. I picked up my dad's cigarettes in an ashtray when I was very little, 7. And I quit when I was 18, but I was up to 2-3 packs of cigarettes a day. I was addicted. To cigarettes. I mean, so I understand addiction. You can be addicted to marijuana. You can be addicted to alcohol. And it's just an unhealthy thing. How did I break it? I tried to quit a million times, honestly. I really believe God told me to quit them or I was going to die early. And I quit instantly. I consider it deliverance. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, not everybody has that experience, but I really was just frustrated to the point to where I really was crying out for help. And I think God gave me the help that I needed on that. My dad died at 50 from the cigarettes. It hardened his arteries. Premature aging. If you see somebody that abuses substance, whether it's tobacco, it's alcohol, it's particular drugs, it ages the body exponentially. It's just not a good thing. Maybe you're not all vanity all the time. You're so vain. Maybe that's not the kind of person you are. But still, why push, Father Time any faster than it needs to happen, especially when it's in regards to your health? And shoot, you can have all the money in the world. You can have the best companion in your life and all those things are going well. But if you don't got your darn health, believe me, health is important. Think about it. Your legs are not working. Your heart's not working right. Your lungs are not working right. Your brain's not working right. You got tics and all sorts. Come on. Why push anything any further than it needs to be? my thinking on this. I mean, I know it's an interesting take on it, but that's why you listen to the broadcast. Really thinking beyond the headlines a little bit and getting into it. I think Sessions makes a good point. On the heels of California becoming, the seventh and largest state, plus the District of Columbia on Monday, to legalize recreational marijuana. So about 90 businesses received state licenses to begin legal marijuana sales in California at the start of 2018, and sales are booming. In addition, 29 states allow the sale and use of medical marijuana. I mean, what's Sessions saying? He says it's my job to let you know that there is no free lunch medically with marijuana or any drug, even if a state or society decides that it is wise economically and politically to make marijuana legal. At the same time, we must be prepared for the health consequences even more than the legal one. If left to our own devices, I don't know. People use the alcohol deal. I understand. That's a drug too. Could be just as deadly, and the information's still trickling in with marijuana. Because chances are, if you do one, you probably do the other. There's consequences to be paid, and there's no free lunch. I like how he puts it. So just some food for thought. The hurricane season, a lot of people had a lot of damage done. You may know somebody that was affected insurance-wise, but following the 2017 rash of natural disasters in North America, insurers will have to pay claims of around, check this number out, very fat, $135 billion for the year. That's the most ever, according to the report published yesterday. German Munich Re, he says, in an annual natural catastrophe review, also said last year's total losses include those not insured were $330 billion, the second worst in history after 2011 when an earthquake and tsunami wreaked havoc in Japan. He says, although individual events could not be linked directly to climate change, global warming is playing a role. Munich Re said it expected more frequent extreme events in the future. He says, we have a new normal, said Ernst Roik. He said, head of the Munich Re Corporate Climate Center, which monitors climate change. He says 2017 was not in outer. He says there's more happening, more in the future. So be ready. And I think it's a good idea. We don't know when the next one's going to happen. We could have another ferocious storm system and have some of these same things coming into Florida, coming up and down the coast. Could hit New York, could hit New Orleans, could hit Florida all over again. We don't know. Be prepared, and you can start today if you haven't already done so. Natural disasters don't even have to be, quote unquote, hurricanes. I mean, they can be tornadoes, they can be earthquakes. They could be an EMP. They could be any of these things. We've talked about it and repetitively for the last several years, and some of you actually have gotten prepared and have stuff. And to me, peace of mind is just having plenty of water and food, and a generator is the smartest thing to me that you could ever get. And some LED lighting. It's like the best stuff on the planet with batteries. Some of them are solar powered. You can charge them during the day, and there you go. But water and food, have some batteries on hand. You just don't know. Are you watching the whole deal with the Iranians? They're standing up against their government. Maybe some change is happening. Iranians are using the internet, and of course the government's been trying to use a massive firewall to lock them out. But according to the United States government, access hasn't been completely cut, leaving the protesters room to maneuver. There's lots of pictures that are surfacing. One activist in Tehran was telling Fox News that he had downloaded about 10 VPNs and just one is working, while VPN can be quickly shut down when detected, activists can just quickly scramble to find more, and some have also turned to other platforms such as the anonymity network Tor, which allows users to conceal their